Available in paperback at e-readers. Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Entertainment mogul Sean P. Diddy Combs was arrested in connection with a 3-count federal indictment charging him with alleged sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution.
We begin with that breaking news here at 6 today. A judge orders Sean Diddy Combs held without bail. He pleaded not guilty to racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges following a bombshell indictment today. Alice Gaynor covers courts and joins us now live from Lower Manhattan with all the new details. Alice.
Christine, Sean Diddy Combs himself entered the not guilty plea. He walked into the courtroom with a very serious expression. He scanned the room. He had about 12 family members and friends there to support him. Otherwise, the room was basically attorneys and members of the press. The two sides essentially litigated the case when they were making the argument for bail or no bail. Prosecutors say he's a flight risk. He's an extreme danger to the community. He's a serial abuser, they say, and a serial obstructor. His attorney argued that he had earned the trust of the court and of the judge, because he flew to New York in anticipation of being arrested and wanted to turn himself in. They also mentioned that he's in the process of trying to sell his plane. He handed over his passports to his attorneys, but the judge ruled he be held without bail. Sean Diddy Combs is accused of creating a criminal enterprise, of using employees, resources, and influence to allegedly carry out crimes including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. That employees like security staff, household staff, personal assistants, and high-ranking supervisors allegedly helped facilitate and cover up his abuse and sex escapades, never intervening. Other arrests could be coming.
I'm not taking anything off the table.
The previously reported March 2016 Los Angeles hotel video showing Diddy attacking then-girlfriend singer Cassie was referenced in the indictment.
A member of the hotel security staff intervened, and Combs attempted to bribe the staff member with a stack of cash to make sure that what happened was kept quiet.
The indictment alleges Diddy abused people for decades, verbally, emotionally, physically, and sexually. He's accused of manipulating women to participate in highly orchestrated performances of sexual activity with male commercial sex workers. These elaborate sex performances were referred to as freak-offs, which Combs is accused of arranging, directing, and recording.
The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics.
He's accused of sometimes giving people drugs like cocaine, oxycodone, and ketamine, to name a few, controlling their careers, using money and threats allegedly to get what he wanted. During these so-called freak-offs and at other times, it's alleged he hit, kicked, and threw objects at and dragged victims. Some injuries took days or weeks to heal, and he allegedly used the recordings of them as collateral. In March 2024, during searches of his Miami and LA homes, law enforcement seized drugs and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, guns, ammo, and 3 AR-15s with the serial numbers defaced. His attorney says they are not his guns.
Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. We're appealing the decision to hold him without bail.
Combs faces a minimum of 15 years behind bars, up to life in prison if convicted on these 3 felony counts. His attorney says he is fighting the no bail ruling today. There is a bail appeal hearing scheduled for tomorrow, Christine.
All right, some shocking allegations there, Alice. Thank you for that update. Diddy's legal troubles first picked up steam last year. He has faced a number of lawsuits since then, filed by an unnamed music producer to former college student Joy Dickerson, and most recently, one of the singers from the band Danity Kane, Dawn Richard. Now, the first lawsuit came in November of 2023 from Diddy's ex-girlfriend, singer Cassie, alleging years of abuse and rape. The two parties settled the next day. And then in March, federal agents raided his homes in Miami and LA. In May, video surfaced showing Combs attacking Cassie in an LA hotel in 2016. He publicly apologized days later. In June, Combs returned his key to the city at the request of Mayor Adams. All of this now leading up to his arrest yesterday. Do stay with CBS News New York. We brought you the news conference live when that indictment was unsealed earlier today, and you can read the entire document on cbsnewyork.com.
Now, according to reports, rapper Sean P. Diddy Combs was charged with a federal indictment of 3 counts: racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. And as a result of this indictment, rapper Sean P. Diddy Combs was arrested a day before and then charged after the federal grand jury made its indictment. And after the grand jury made its indictment, Sean P. Diddy Combs then was presented in front of a judge who then went and denied him bail and took him into custody in a federal detention facility similar to the one that Jeffrey Epstein was taken into custody before he could go to federal trial on similar charges. Now, all of these charges are in connection with alleged sex trafficking that Sean P. Diddy Combs allegedly participated in connection with a series of sexual encounters he arranged called freak-offs. And in these alleged freak-offs, it is alleged that rapper Sean P. Diddy Combs coerced women to participate in sex acts with male sex workers and coerced these women to participate in these alleged sex acts with male sex workers with alleged promises of possibly having a relationship with him and making other offers. And this is what persuaded these women to allegedly participate in these freak-offs. And as he would arrange these freak-offs, these sexual encounters with male sex workers, he would then arrange to have the women travel and fly to these locations. And as he got these women to fly to these locations, he would allegedly ensure their participation by either going out here and threatening to allegedly cut off financial support, go and give them narcotics, or then use violence and intimidation to force these women to participate in these series of deviant sex acts. And this is how he basically created this whole situation where these women would allegedly participate in these freak-offs or these sex acts that would take place over the period of days, a period of days where he would allegedly videotape these sexual encounters and in some cases allegedly masturbate while he watched these sex acts where these women participated in these alleged sex acts with these male performers and male prostitutes, and in some cases again looked to humiliate these women, and participated in this series of alleged freak-offs in incidents that took place as far back as 2009. Now, the federal U.S. Attorney's Office and the U.S. Attorney's Office see the alleged behavior of Sean P. Diddy Combs as an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination of the federal indictment against Sean P. Diddy Combs and all of the alleged behaviors he is accused of participating in, it definitely fits a disturbing pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And it's clear to me that Sean P. Diddy Combs' alleged behavior definitely fits the 2 chapters in my book, The Man Crisis, called The Sexual Frustration of the Beta Male and the Sexual Deviancy of the Beta Male. And it's clear to me that Sean P. Diddy Combs, as related to these freak-offs, was one of these individuals who was looking to live a double life where he was a music mogul by day, but by night he was living another life in a place I call the secret world. And inside of that secret world, he was exploring sexual deviancy not out of an interest of pleasure, but out of an interest of gaining power and control over people. And in that quest to get power and control over people, he hoped to use sex as a way to gain control over people as he participated in his sexual deviant addiction to voyeurism. Now, in a previous video where I talked about the son of one of the Buc-ee's founders, I talked all about the whole sexual deviant act of voyeurism. And when it comes to the sexually deviant voyeur, what the sexually deviant voyeur wants to participate in installing cameras to watch people in intimate places like bathrooms, is what they want to do is play God over people's lives. And this is what it looks like as related to the allegations of Sean P. Diddy Combs was looking to participate in as related to these arranged sexual encounters that he arranged for these women to be coerced to participate in. Because what happened here as related to the alleged allegations is that Sean P. Diddy Combs would go out here and get involved with women who basically were, in some cases, groupies, or women who were just interested in the music mogul. And what he wanted to do in these situations was basically be the one who would have power in these situations, power over these women to play God. And what he wanted to do was see how far he could get these women to submit to his authority as a god. And as he got them to look to submit to that authority, what he wanted to do was break those women down, break down their mind, break down their body with drugs and alcohol, and break down their spirit as related to the physical abuse. What he wanted to do was break these women as he looked to have them participate in these deviant sex acts, in these freak-offs. What he wanted to do was go out here and use these performers' penises as weapons to break these women down, I believe, as related to these freak-off sexual encounters that took place over a period of days. And as this was going on, he wanted to see these women broken down on video and watch those videos not to see these women participate in sex acts as related to pleasure, because pleasure would have been something that would have been intimate and private between himself and the women. No, what he wanted to do was see these women humiliated and broken down, and he wanted to see these women wincing in pain because these sex acts took place over periods of days, and he in some cases allegedly drugged these women in order to keep them performing these performances over days, and then wanted to gain leverage after the sex act, gain leverage in looking to use the video of these sex acts to coerce these women into silence after coercing them to participate in these sex acts. And this is where Sean P. Diddy Combs' alleged behavior goes into the realm of sexual deviancy and sexual depravity, because these freak-offs, again, were not about a healthy sexual encounter, because, again, they weren't healthy because he was misleading the women, one, into believing that they were having a connection with him, then misleading them into being coerced to participate in these sex acts with male prostitutes, and having these women flown to these locations to participate in these sex acts, and ensuring their participation by allegedly giving them drugs, saying that he was going to control their careers or cut them off from financial support, or using violence and intimidation. And that's where Sean P. Diddy Combs' alleged behavior enters into the world of sexual deviancy and violates our federal laws as related to interstate commerce, because this is the technical term of sex trafficking, because he was taking these women across interstate lines to participate in these criminal sexual acts in that he was allegedly coercing these women to participate in the sex acts by using violence and intimidation and drugging women, similar to the way that sex traffickers participate in sex trafficking, and participating in this sex trafficking only because he wanted to be the god over these women and the god over these people, as related to his sick, twisted fetish of voyeurism. A god over women as related to his fetish of voyeurism, because if Sean P. Diddy Combs really was about, again, participating in adult entertainment, he would have, again, participated in adult entertainment by creating a production company that produced pornography like the rapper Yella allegedly did, and like people like Luther Campbell, who basically created adult entertainment companies. But the whole thing is, he didn't want to create an adult entertainment company that produced pornographic material that could sate fetishes. No, this was all about him being able to have his secret world, a secret world where he could be the one who had all the power over people, where he could be the one who basically could be the ruler over these people, and he could be the one who could use these sex tapes as leverage, to be able to have power over these people that he basically broke down, who participated in these freak-offs, both male and female, looked to break those people down so that he could allegedly have power over those people and be able to go out here and buy those people. And what's even worse is that he recruited many of his staff members to help him create this enterprise around him, create an entire enterprise around this whole effort to be able to get him stratify his sexual deviancy, create an enterprise where people were, again, looking to arrange travel for these women, arrange travel for these male sex workers, arrange travel for those who basically arrange the camera equipment, arrange possible medical staff to basically feed these people IVs as related to drugs, and created this whole elaborate production as related to gratifying his deviant sexual desires that are quite disturbing because they show a man who was basically completely out of control as related to his sexuality, similar to what I've seen with many of the beta males that I talk about in my Historical Men in Crisis series. Out of control because these men basically look to have their control in the secret world of sex, but the whole point of them entering the secret world basically shows how out of control they are as related to their natural sexuality, and how they basically are exploring all of this deviancy and debauchery because they just are completely depraved because all they want to do is basically, they don't want to get sexual pleasure with a partner, because sex is usually an intimate act between a man and a woman. Sex is an act that is done privately between a man and a woman and is discreet between them. No, when it comes to these kind of males, this is not about pleasure for them. It is all about power and control. And for P. Diddy Combs, the media mogul, he wanted to be able to control large masses of people due to the God complex that he had, due to the insecurities he had regarding his own natural masculinity and his own natural sexuality. And that's what put him on this road to allegedly exploring sexual deviancy, because these freak-offs were a textbook act of sexual deviancy, where he arranged for these women to be having, again, sexual encounters with males who were not him, deliberately, one, to surprise these women, he forced and coerced these women to participate in these sex acts, which is textbook grape behavior. And 3, he explored further sexual deviancy by watching these women being broken down and humiliated, and got pleasure from seeing these women possibly being drugged, and in some cases being taken against their will, as related to going out here and believing that they had to do this if they wanted to move up, as related to being a part of his entourage, and got pleasure from seeing these women basically hurt their faces twist into winces as they had to participate in these encounters for days, and watch as they were humiliated during these encounters for days. This was all about, again, this man getting pleasure through power and pleasure through breaking people down. Now, I have had viewers ask me what breaking a woman down is all about. And again, breaking a woman down is about taking away her agency and her power, as related to a sexual encounter where the man, like these male performers and P. Diddy, were just basically getting their pleasure from seeing these women humiliated, basically taking away this woman's, again, power and agency to take permission, to be able to grant her permission as related to these sex acts. Again, this was not about, oh, this woman hooked up with this dude, because hooking up is about permission. Hooking up means that the woman gave her permission to get involved with that guy, but Diddy did not allow these women to consent to this. No, he basically cornered these women, and then after he cornered these women, he made threats to them, which again was all about him getting pleasure from seeing these women give up their power and their agency. And as they gave up their power and their agency, he got his pleasure from seeing these women basically losing their ability to make their choices. And as he got them to get involved with these male performers and coerced them to get involved with these male performers, got his jollies from seeing these women being humiliated, seeing these women basically having their joy and their spirit taken away, and using these males' penises as weapons to take away these women's bodies away from them. This is what this man did, as he basically trafficked these women who wanted to be a part of his entourage under the covert contract that he created. As he created this covert contract, he looked to, again, mislead these women to think they had a shot at being a part of his entourage. But once they came over to his facilities, this is where he used his, again, leverage to, again, control them, and did this, again, as related to interstate commerce, as related to the trafficking aspect of the sex trafficking charges, and as related to the racketeering, the enterprise he created, where he had his staff participating in arranging these encounters. This is where the racketeering charge comes in, and those are 2 of the 3 charges as related to the federal indictment against Sean P. Diddy Combs, a federal indictment that basically, again, is one that's devastating to Sean P. Diddy Combs' professional reputation, where he had, again, looked like he was living a double life, a life where he was the music mogul by day, but by night he was living another life as this sexual deviant, a sexual deviant who was not looking to explore pleasure with a woman, but was looking to get pleasure through seeing women in pain, pleasure by seeing women in pain, because he was on this quest for power, a quest for power because he basically starting to feel inadequate as this music mogul, started to feel inadequate as this music mogul because he felt, again, insecure as related to his position of power, and felt more and more insecure as related to his position of power in the hierarchy of the system of white supremacy. Now, when it comes to people like Sean P. Diddy Combs, they feel powerless as related to themselves. They feel powerless because, one, they feel that they don't deserve what they've got as related to the things that they've achieved in the entertainment industry. And Diddy possibly doesn't feel like he achieved anything because he possibly allegedly stole from a lot of people. And that guilt has him entering the secret world and feeling inadequate. And the other thing that made him feel inadequate was that he was basically realizing that he wasn't really the big mogul like he thought, because he was just a small player in the media arm of white supremacy. Because many of these entertainers who enter the media arm of white supremacy, they think that they're billionaire moguls, but they're not really anybody with any real power. No, any power that they have is granted to them by the system of white supremacy if they'll go along and make compromises in promoting anti-black agendas. And Diddy did participate in promoting anti-black agendas in a lot of his music. He promoted a lot of anti-black agendas, and as he participated in those anti-black agendas in his music, he then also screwed over his entertainers. That made him feel a little bit like a god over black people, but that wasn't enough for him, and he felt that since he couldn't get power in the real world of white supremacy, he decided to enter the secret world, and that's where he started to explore the world of sexual deviancy. That's where he started to explore the world of sexual deviancy, I believe, once he entered that real world and saw that the white supremacist wasn't going to allow him to have that power as a media mogul. He started to enter the secret world, where he started to explore this deviant sexuality, because he couldn't explore his natural sexuality and maintain the optics of his image. So he decided to enter that world of the secret world, and again enter the secret world because he wanted to have that power, as related to using a penis as a weapon and breaking down people, wanted to have that power to control people because he felt powerless as the media mogul that he thought he was. And that's what led to him entering that world of being this sexual deviant instead of entering the world of adult entertainment. Because if he had entered the world of adult entertainment, he could have gone out here and made adult movies and had women being performers in those movies, but that would have really destroyed his image, as a media mogul, and basically put him on the road to being seen as a misogynist, similar to that of the rapper known as Yella, who allegedly produced pornographic films, or Luther Campbell, who participated in adult entertainment, overall, and he didn't want to have his image tarnished, so that's why he continued to enter the secret world and explore the world of sexual deviancy, because one, he could basically separate his worlds, and two, he could be the god over those people who were participating in his sex acts. He could be the god over those people and have that power and control over those people. And that's what Sean P. Diddy Combs thought he would be enabled to do. He thought he would be enabled to do this until he basically pissed off the wrong white person in the system of white supremacy. Because when he pissed off the wrong white person in the system of white supremacy, that's when all of this stuff started to come out as related to his allegedly deviant sexual relationship with Cassie. And after everything came out as related to his alleged deviant sexual relationship and his relationship with Cassie, we then started to see the federal government go into an investigation of Sean P. Diddy Combs. And as they did their investigation, this is where we started to learn more about things as his Florida home was raided. And after his Florida home was raided, we found out disturbing things like him allegedly having over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube, countless videos of these alleged sexual encounters, and again, a whole lot of weapons that were used to basically secure the facility, because this was not a production like an adult entertainment production, because again, adult entertainment productions usually follow the law. The adult film industry, they follow every law to the letter as related to the treatment of adult entertainers or sex workers. But Diddy allegedly wasn't looking for women to be sex workers. No, he was looking to humiliate women and look to use male prostitutes to participate in that humiliation. Again, these were not sex workers, because again, sex workers follow guidelines, and the adult film industry follows guidelines as related to the treatment of talent. They follow guidelines as related to things because they have to, one, follow OSHA as related to the making sure that the work environment is safe. Two, they have to make sure that that the work environment is clean and everything is okay for the workers. And again, they also have to compensate workers. But Diddy wasn't looking to compensate anyone like an adult film production. And again, didn't want to create an adult film production because that meant he would have to give up power, meant he would have to give up power and control over this entire situation. And again, this was not about him, again, being able to create entertainment. This was about him creating private videos so that he could watch people be broken and humiliated, watch people be broken and humiliated, and basically being destroyed in front of him. And that's all part of the demonic God complex that this man had, because it was a demon driving him, because demons basically are about killing people's spirits, destroying their souls as related to these sexual encounters and stealing their joy. That's what this man allegedly was looking to do, similar to what Jeffrey Epstein was looking to do as related to his alleged sex trafficking. And that's what makes this whole situation extremely depraved, and thank God it did stop, because what's happening here to Sean P. Diddy Combs is he's basically reaping what he sowed, greater than what he sowed, later than what he sowed, because he could have basically, again, taken his billions to help other foundational Black Americans, but instead of him looking to help out foundational Black Americans, what he looked to do was look to be a god over a small group of people. And as he looked to be a god over a small group of people with his deviant sexual fetishes and his freak-offs, he basically, again, went out here and participated in a reprehensible act. And again, right now with this federal indictment, he is reaping what he sowed, greater than what he sowed, later than what he sowed. And if he is convicted, he will definitely be in a place where he will be suffering like the women he misled, suffering inside of that penitentiary in the federal prisons with Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles, suffering inside of a penitentiary with Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles, as they basically trade him for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packets of Crystal Light lemonade, packets of Crystal Light tea, packets of Taster's Choice coffee, packets of off-brand lemon lime drink, off-brand grape drink, off-brand fruit punch, off-brand orange drink, off-brand cherry drink, packets of soy sauce, off-brand lemon cookies, off-brand duplex cookies, off-brand vanilla wafers, off-brand ginger snaps, Hunt's snack pack puddings, packs of Cheetos, packs of hot and sour pickles, packs of sriracha sauce, packs of chocolate wafers. I mean, they are basically going to be trading him for all the commissary to make all the prison recipes, such as the brick, such as the spread, and they're going to be going out here filling up the front side and the back side with lots of summer sausage. And then after he gets filled with the summer sausages, Mr. Sprinkles is going to come in and then spray the Diddy's front side and backside with the special sauce. And after he sprays the backside with the special sauce, that's when he's going to call all the guys from Cell Block D to come check out Diddy as they split the cheeks open, and show the D, the I, the D, the D, the Y, looking like the inside of a Louisiana crunch cake. And that's where Sean P. Diddy Combs will reap what he sowed, greater than what he sowed, later than what he sowed, as related to all of the people he did dirty. And that's where Sean P. Diddy Combs will learn the hardest lesson as related to being a black bootlick, the hard lesson that bootleg is a job without a retirement plan, and what's happening to him is what happens to bootlegs. Again, when it comes to white supremacy, they don't want a bootleg to go out here and remain in power for an extended period of time. No, they'll give you money for a limited time, but it will cost you your intangibles, such as your dignity, your self-respect, and your self-worth, and most importantly, your freedom, because anybody who deals with the system of white supremacy, what they want to do is ultimately get you participating in deviant sexual acts and addicted to deviant sexual acts or criminal acts so that they can gain power over you. And then once they get their power over you and get leverage over you, what they look to do is basically use those vices against you to gain power over you so that they can go out here and destroy you. Because when it comes to white supremacy, they always break their toys. And what we see happening right now with Diddy is we see white supremacy just breaking another toy that thought it was on the road to being a god. But like every other idol that is in the system of white supremacy, these idols always get broken by the ultimate deity in the system of white supremacy. And this is why you don't go into the system of white supremacy, because it makes you believe you're a false god, and makes you believe you're a false god, and again makes you believe that you're a god, not understanding that God is not a man. God is not a man, and this is why you should have no other gods before you. But Diddy basically had a god over him in white supremacy, and as he believed in that false god made him believe that he could be a god. But the whole thing was, they basically got him caught up in the idolatry of himself, similar to that of the white supremacist. And as he got caught up in the idolatry of himself as related to the system of white supremacy, what they did was just take this idol and break it. Take this idol and break it, because they don't need anybody looking at a black man like him as a god. No, they basically, again, use sex as a way to get him to get caught up in the lust. And then as he got caught up in this lust and believed that he was a god, he wound up being broken, and being broken because white supremacy doesn't want any black man to have economic or political power. No, they don't want him to have that economic political power. Moreover, they don't want that black man to have power over self, and that's what they didn't want with Diddy Combs, and that's why Diddy is done at this point, because it's not a matter of if he's going to get convicted on these charges, it's just a matter of when. And it's a matter of when, because again, white supremacy doesn't want any black man to have that kind of power. But the whole problem with Diddy started when he made those compromises to be a part of the entertainment industry. And as he made those compromises to be a part of the entertainment industry, he wound up losing his soul. And now when he wound up losing his soul, he wound up on the road to losing his life. I talk about that in depth in my novel, The Temptation of John Haynes, where I talk about how death kills the flesh and compromise kills the soul. And what Diddy did as he entered the entertainment industry was go out here and make compromises that cost him his soul. And now that he's made those compromises that cost him his soul, he's on the way to losing his life in this world and the next. On his way to losing his life in this world and the next, because he basically, again, wasn't looking to serve God. And now that he's basically wasn't looking to serve God, sadly, in his middle age, he's reaping what he sowed, greater than what he sowed, and it's turning out to be an incredibly bitter harvest for a man who was considered to be one of the richest men in the world and one of the most greatest powerful moguls in the world. A man who possibly thought arrogantly like the rich man who thought he would be able to tear down his storehouses and build again the next day. But now that his soul is required of him, he's on a road to possible hell. A road to possible hell because he basically made white supremacy his god, and white supremacy shows how it doesn't really respect its servants the way God does, because when it deals with black bootlegs like Sean P. Diddy Combs, men who compromise with white supremacy, they don't reward those black men who make those compromises. No, the only reward a bootleg receives is a fast track to hell. Now, if you want to pick up my novel that talks all about the compromises that men make to get ahead and how it can cost you everything, you can pick up my novel, The Temptation of John Haynes, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find it at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to learn how men like Sean P. Diddy Combs enter the secret world and wind up on a road to participating in sexual deviancy that can destroy their lives, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. If you'd like to see me talk more about men's issues and talk about more issues as related to the man crisis, you can drop a donation to my Patreon, PayPal, or Cash App that will help me to be able to continue making these videos and continue paying for the internet so I can continue making this content. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Illuminati, the man who rules the world, takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this action-packed, all-new Esteem series adventure. Get your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.